and tidy edited down video, but I have ways for you to make it faster. You can click that little gear on the YouTube settings right there on the video and adjust the playback speed, make me sound like a chipmunk, and it'll go a lot faster. You can also look and see if there's timestamps for this project in the description, and if you're on a desktop, you can hover over the time bar at the bottom of the screen and see if it's chunked up into chapters, and then that way you can go directly to the step you're looking for. And lastly, you can also tap on the screen on the right hand side of the video picture or on the left hand side to make the video jump ahead, forward or backward if you're on a mobile device. And you can adjust that amount in your settings so you can have complete control over how much it jumps. So if you are on a desktop, you can use the fast forward or the rewind, and that will make it go faster as well. You can also enable subtitles, and the little CC on the screen will enable closed captioning. That way, if I am a little bit harder to understand with that double playback speed, the subtitles might help you out. All right, well, I know that it's not a nice little edited video, but if you sew with me, we'll get there together and it'll be lots of fun. And now for the live stream. Happy sewing! Hello. How's it going? Feels like it's been a while. Hi, Hannah. Hi, Donna. Hi, Mullen. Hi, Tiffany. Hi, Danny. Yeah, no worries. Hi, Mildred. Welcome, welcome. So I know I said I was cutting Ash jeans today, but I decided to do some fit adjustments instead because I feel like that's probably way more interesting. And I am a little like, I feel a little bit like I'm being risky. Hi, Susan. Hi, Karen. Hi, Christina. Nice to see you guys. So we can chat all about some of these adjustments. So to be clear, I didn't say I'm fitting jeans because I'm not actually like, you know, prototyping and checking the fit on these. These are something I've made a bunch of times in different stretch denims. These are the Ash jeans, and they are stretch pant. So I didn't want to mislead you by saying I'm fitting jeans today when I'm really just going to be making the adjustments that I want to the pattern. And there's going to be a lot of pattern stuff today, not just fitting stuff. I'm going to, you know, change this pocket. It's too narrow, like when you put your hand in. You know, I feel like I want to go like an inch further in, it just stops. So I'll be doing that. I'm changing the, well, I already did it before I realized I was going to do the stream, but I'll show you. I changed my fly to be a built-on fly because that's my preferred fly style. I feel like I love the Ash jeans, and once you find your jean pattern that you get it adjusted, you know, you kind of stick with it. I've done a lot of jean patterns, and I've liked, for the most part, I've liked them all. Like I like the gingers a lot, but the Ash, there's just some about them that just I like a little better. So I use these now, but the fly style never works for me because they are a snug jean, and what happens is because it's snug and the way this fly is sewn particularly, some days when they're a little too snug or like over the course of the day, what happens is your zipper peeks out. Like I've been sitting here like this for a while. I'm getting there. But the zipper peeks out, and you know, like that shiny brass zipper just showing right there on your belly. It just looks, it looks messy. It doesn't look great. And every time I make these, I forget and I cut my jeans out, and then, you know, so I finally fixed it because I was like, you know, screw this. I'm going to fix this before I sew these again. So I fixed them and I hadn't made them yet. So hi, Justine. Hi, Deb. Welcome, welcome. So, so yeah, there's going to be a bit of that. There's probably going to be a lot of patterny type of things today. So feel free to bring some of your questions. I'll try and get to all of them. If there's time, I'll cut them at the end. I have this stretch denim that I got from Hearts, and I have to admit, I really wish I would find one stretch denim source that I really like that I can always get, because all of my pants are a little different. And like the last pair of Ash jeans, I actually love the fit of those. probably the combination of the fabric type, the weight, the stretch. They're a little too lightweight overall, but the way they fit, I really like. But they do not, they just kind of go bleh by the end of the day. And I like to wear my jeans multiple days, just to preserve the indigo or the darkness, whatever they're dyed with. And they just get better over time, right? Like after a few days, but those don't, they just don't get better. And I don't want to buy that denim again, right? But online, it's really hard to know what you're getting when you're, you know, like, because sometimes they'll list what the denim is and sometimes they don't. It's just kind of like denim and a weight and a stretch, right? So you got to kind of like find your source. So anyway, this denim here, this is really nice stuff. I don't know if I knew it was called Italian stretch denim when I bought it. It was the only dark stretch denim that Hearts had at the time. And I wanted enough to get 2 pairs. I'm hoping I did get enough for 2 pairs, but they said, oh, you know what, there wasn't quite as much on the website, so they just gave me everything. So this is 3 1/8 yards. It's probably not enough. It's also not very wide. It's only 44 inches wide. If it had been like 54, it would be fine. So I'm hoping, I don't know what we'll see. Anyway, I think it's a little too lightweight for my liking. And I was a little worried it was too stretchy. I feel like denim can be way too stretchy, and it just shows every contour of the body. And I just don't like that. I like a more like smooth finish on the body, you know? Is it normal to have more stretch on grain versus, you mean length grain versus cross grain? Really? That's kind of weird. Yeah, right, Terry? That's what I'm thinking too. I think if I had gotten the full amount, I would have enough because I think 2 yards is enough. Oh, that is kind of strange, Justine, because you want your stretch to be in circumference. If it's jagging fabric, you know, like fabric that looks like denim, but it's like a really stretchy, like for leggings, that might have more length than cross sometimes. But typically, no, you should have more in the cross grain than in the length. Like there's none in the length grain on this. Sorry, it's kind of dark. But it has a nice backside. It looks tightly woven. You know, it doesn't look like a twill weave. I'm not a fabric expert. Oh, your stuff you used for your jacket? That's interesting. Huh. I mean, that's fine. I think if you had used it for pants, you would have been a little, disappointed. So it's good you're using it for a jacket. But that isn't very normal. Maybe it is, and I just don't know. But was it like a discounted denim? That's so interesting. Why would they do it on the length grain? I see length grain stretch on knits sometimes and none on the cross. That's why you have to check, which is okay, like if you want a lot of stability and circumference, but you need to bend your legs, you know, like so overrated to bend your legs. Not discounted, huh? Well, do you like it? Do you like the denim? Because that's really all that matters. I don't think it's necessarily defective. I don't know what you know. Yeah, exactly. The only time we talked a lot about length grain stretch was in leggings when I worked at a knitwear place. Maybe in some base layer applications we talked about it because you can get a shirt that is so, like, you know what a base layer is, like a next to skin layer. So it's going under something for sure. So it needs to perform really well against the body. And if you don't have any length grain stretch, bending your arms is really uncomfortable. So, hi Lean, welcome. So yeah, it's not that it's like wrong. There's lots of ways they can do it. So. So I don't know, Justine. That's a really interesting one. All right, so I've traced my pattern out. I traced out bits and pieces of it. All I traced was the front here, which is right here. Here's my front. I've already added the fly. Hi, Elena. How's it going? Team Lurk. Okay. Mid-year review. Ooh. Rate yourself high. The denim's nice, but I wouldn't use it for stretch denim pants. At least without yeah, good. Hi, Aisha. How's it going? And then I've only traced the yoke, which is upside down here, the waistband, and it's on the fold, and I have both folded here just as a guide, and I have my back pocket because this will probably change. But, and then my back is down here too, right here. And the grain line, I like it going all the way down the entire pant. Hi, Diane. So we're going to start. So the things I want to do today, we're going to do these. Actually, let's cut the yoke off here because we'll need this ASAP. So I said a little like, I'm a little like, I feel like I'm being a little risky with some of these changes I want to do because the denim is sort of lightweight. And that's not necessarily bad, but I just don't like really super lightweight denims. And when they're really stretchy and lightweight, sometimes you can, like if you're adding to make them fit better, you can add too much. And because it's not like a heavier denim that has stretch in it, that'll be a little bit, like the thickness of the fabric will make a difference. So it's just one of those balancing acts. So I may find that I made too much, so I'm going to try and be more conservative. I tend to sometimes go overboard when I'm in a hurry, and I'm not in a hurry. I just always think I'm in a hurry. It's never worth it to be in a hurry. Okay, I'm gonna fold this in half for now. Actually, what I'll do is, when I sew it, I'll fold it like this and just sort of get it out of the way so I can have it right side up. So we have our back here. So the things I want to do today are, I want to add a little bit in circumference, mostly at the hip and waist area, but I also want to raise the waistline. And if I'm thinking of it through, I feel like I really don't need the circumference in the waist when it gets raised because, your body, most bodies, not most, many bodies will taper going up, right? And sometimes they go the other direction. Just depends on how you're shaped, right? For me, I taper a little bit, not as much as I used to, as far as like if you were to look at me from the front, it looks like I taper, but from the side, I don't, So I don't really need the waist to go in much once I raise it. So we might be able to do like a slash and raise type of thing. But I do want to add a little bit to this area here, which will invariably be like the high hip area. So we're going to do that too, even though I'm actually folding this on grain. I find it really helpful. Let's get this out of the way too here. I'm also going to change my leg circumference at the hem. I would like these to be a little less close. Hi, Barbara. Did I say hi, Barbara? Hi, Amy. How are you guys? And here's my yoke. So let's just trim off this bottom edge. Okay. And the heck are the seam allowances on this pattern? They're half, aren't they? They're half, right? Oh my goodness. Let's find out. So this fabric is recommended at 15 to 20% stretch. Hi Nita, how's it going? I'm making my own version, I would say, because I have made them, I think you're right. I think it's the closer fitting leg. I mean, look at the cover. I feel like there's 3 leg styles. 1, 2, 3, 4 leg styles. All right, let's just see. 5/8 inch seams. Look at that nice little note to myself. Lately, it's been kind of rare. There we go. 5/8 inch seams. We're just gonna write today's date. And we'll credit the ash there. So I just have this so that I wrote stretch jeans, ash, the date, and 5/8 inch seams, just so I have something. No, it's not a stretch pattern. I did sew a non-stretch pair of jeans, I think right before Christmas, was it? And the Esmonds are also, well, I mean, it's the same changes. It doesn't matter if this is a stretch or a non-stretch pattern. If you need the change, you make it the change. Like it doesn't matter. Like it matters, a stretch pattern versus a non-stretch pattern matters in if you were to compare the two. But if you are like, okay, I've done this muslin and I need some changes to this, you just make the exact same changes. You don't change the percentage. If you need 2 inches, you add 2 inches, in other words. So I'm telling you this is stretch because I know I'll go asked a bit, and that's more important for the fabric choice, but that's it. That's all, that's where it stops. I don't actually do anything different otherwise. Yeah, that's true. There's the Dawn. The Dawn fits quite a bit differently. They're much higher waisted and they have more of a like looser stovepipe leg, I think. I don't know if that's the correct term, but so I like the Dawn a lot. I had to go back and fit those because non-stretch denim, it stretches out over the course of the day, and I think the colored stretch denim is even worse. It has less return. So mine were just getting like, I could pull them on and off without unbuttoning them. So I knew that was bad. I was just like, oh, I don't even need to unbutton these. I could just pull real hard. So, all right, so we have our yoke here, and we're gonna draw in some seam allowances here. So we're just gonna draw them all in the areas we're gonna be changing. We'll just do that right off the bat so that we're not, because I wouldn't normally do this for myself. I'm gonna do this so that it's visually, it's there for you. You can see what I'm doing. And I don't wanna miss it because I will tend to skip doing this sometimes, forgetting that that's not helpful to you, you know? We'll do it here. Using my dirty ruler, and it is dirty. My hands are getting all icky. I have 5 live streams this week, by the way. I don't know how that happened, but one of them, there's only one that's private that is in the guild. So if you're a guild member, there's the Pattern Chatters Friday. But I'm also going to be on a kind of a Zoom live stream with Jen Stern. And I'm going to meet Trisha Camacho, who's teaching also at Sew Expo. I've never met her. So if you want to tune in for that. And there's also a surprise guest. Yes, I know who it is. Another teacher at Sew Expo. So if you want to come to that, that's Friday morning. So the Helene is my new favorite rigid pattern. They fit me really well. That's cool. Maybe, would you ever think about doing a post in the Guild Mullen that compared the two and with side-by-side photos? People would probably love that. All right, so your center front, when you're talking about your front pant, where your fly is, if you have a built-on fly, it's this notch to the drill right there. So we're just gonna mark it. I don't really need to, but there we go. I think it might be, but I'm not sure. Or maybe that's the heroine. The Helene, isn't that a Helene from Merchant and Mills? Am I wrong about that? God, 5/8 of an inch is so gigantic. Let's trace this, or let's trim this down when we get there. like I can barely even draw it on here. It's so bulky and big. I would trim all that away. Anything I'm going to trim away, like what's the point in putting it there, you know? Oh, Daughter Judy. That's it, Daughter Judy. It's for selvage denim. I think the selvage denim thing is so overrated. Personally, like if you find selvage denim, great. But that's only if you're going to cuff your pants, right? So, oh, Anna Allen is the Helene? Oh, okay. Shoot. We were all off. Yeah, I don't want to insert an ad. Can you please stop covering my chat? Okay. All right, so my list. I'm going to keep my waist circumference. I'm going to add to the hip about 2 inches or 1.5 inches in circumference total. So that's 3/8 of an inch each side seam. Raise the front waist. This is where I'm kind of like, oh, how much? Doesn't need that much. I don't want too much. You know what I mean? Hi, Leah. How's it going? Yeah, you can use normal denim. Exactly. Most people can only find that. Built on fly, which I already did. I'm going to change my hem circumference and inseam length. I think I'm going to change my hem circumference. I'm pretty sure that this will need to be increased. And then this is my hem right here. And then what else was I going to... And then the other things will be just the pieces we need to complete the pants. Like I need the pocket. I need the pocket facing. I have a back pocket. I need a fly facing. Or fly shield, sorry. This is the fly facing. The other one's the fly shield. People swap this all the time, but if you think about the name of it, it makes sense. So this is a facing, right? It faces the opening. It faces the jean front, right? The shield shields you from getting caught in the zipper and anyone seeing your underwear when you're unzipping your pants or if you forget to zip them, right? So think of it that way. Okay. So and I'm gonna raise my waist, but not by much. So if we do a little bit in the front and a little bit in the back, a little less in the back, yeah. Oh, that would be nice, Terry. All right, let me get a little piece of paper here. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna raise my waist, put it where I want it. Get a couple pieces of paper, and I'm also gonna raise this up a little bit. So if I'm doing less in the back and more in the front, there's a couple ways you can do this, and I know that you've probably seen lots of ways to do it, so you can do it however you like. Usually I'm just going to slice it and raise it up, but because I'm doing less in the back and more in the front, I have to do it at a slight angle. So we're going to draw a cut line here. And do I want to do this parallel to my waist? I kind of do, but at the same time, I want a linear inch. Because if I do this, if I do a cut line like this, right, perpendicular to my grain line, right? So yeah, my waist, this is my yoke seam, by the way, so, but you know, you get the idea. The waist is at an angle, and I measure that 1 inch right here straight up. It's not going to be raising it the same amount. Hi, Julie, how's it going? The ash is more like mid-rise. I think of it as mid-rise. There's a lot of jean talk. So I would probably just cut it parallel. That way I can do my my mount the same amount I want. So we're just going to do a parallel line, and maybe we can even focus on it being perpendicular to the back. No. We're just going to cut right here. I'm going to do a red line here. Oh, there you go. They have a, I was hoping that we could have one in the Guild though, you know. They are very satisfying make. I totally agree with you. We need to draw in our waist here, our side seam in our waist. So let's put this piece here. Lately when I draft my pant patterns, I don't cut this little opening yet. I leave it like this so that when I want to make changes, it's there because, you know, makes it a little easier. All right, and then we're gonna draw in our 5/8. I haven't done this in so long. I feel kind of rusty right now. It's kind of funny. I feel kind of slow. What am I doing in a nutshell? I am adjusting my jeans. Kind of overlapping at the side seam there. And we'll do something like this right under this opening. I'm gonna go at a right angle here at center front right here. So I sort of curved my line. I'm gonna raise my front 3/4 of an inch, I think. Is that what I decided? Raise front waist 1 inch, that's right. And my back waist 1/2 inch. I'm gonna tape these together. I'm sort of doing this in a, not in the way I would normally do it. Making it very obvious what I'm doing, hopefully. I'm just raising the rise a little bit, you know? Jeans are not that hard. Yeah, I totally agree. They're really, in my opinion, the thing about jeans is if your machine likes sewing heavyweight fabric or not. And if you're not sewing heavyweight fabric, then you're not as worried either. So that's the biggest thing to me. The zipper fly is really not that hard. You don't have to understand what's happening with the zipper fly because it is really confusing. And there's a lot of patterns out there that don't really understand how the fly works and how it's sewn. And you can tell by their sewing instructions. But if your fly pattern pieces look like the ones in this pattern, which they usually do, you can sew them the way I do or other people do, you know, you using the same pattern pieces. You can find the method you like the best. And I think that's the key because the fly is really not the hard part. It's the thickness of the fabric, in my opinion. You hate making twirls. Why do you hate making twirls? Are you finishing them? Because you don't have to finish them. Or is it the fitting? Is it the fitting that you're not into? Which part don't you like? Well, that's why I just taped these two together, Terry, so that I can do an angle because I don't want to do the... I can always trim the top. Okay, we're going to do a full inch in the front, all right? Like that. Let's make some room here. Maybe I can do it this way. Will that look better for you guys? Sorry, I don't have my side seams done yet. That's why I can't trim them off. So we'll overlap these like this. I can fold it back though if that helps you. Why but your side seam would have to change, wouldn't it, if you want to raise your waist or lower your waist? What do you mean? I just want to get on with this real thing. On with a real thing. Oh, yeah, but if they don't fit, they won't be real. They'll be imaginary still. Hi, Kira. How's it going? All right, I'm just overlapping there. Yeah, I think shorts are a great way to go too if you need shorts or like the gardening pants, stuff like that. But I think like just doing muslin. I know muslin's not the ideal fabric for jeans, but it's something. It kind of gives you an idea. For stretch stuff, that's harder. You may just have to buy some stretch fabric, but you have to make sure that it's roughly the same stretch. The thing is, you're still going to get something that's better than store-bought most of the time, unless you have a favorite store-bought jean. All right, so here we go. We're going to raise this up an inch or a ½ inch back here and an inch up here. So we're just going to put this at an angle like this. I'm doing this in such a funny way. Wait, what happened here? Oh, maybe I do need to tape this the other way. Removable tape, we love you. Okay. Something like that. That's actually, No, we're not going to do that. Oh, but we do need to, you see how we have our grain line here down the center? Can you see that very well? Let me make it a little darker. Right? And here is the grain line on these pieces here. Right? So I just go straight up from there. Right? I want that amount right there, so we're going to line it up and keep our line here. So I'm just going to use a little piece of removable tape right here. And let's say we want to raise this an inch, and that's a ½ inch. We could just say, oh, we'll do 3/4 at the side seam. We could do that. I was trying to go for more of a smooth transition, but there's a lot of contour happening here at the side seam up at the top, so that might be a little harder to accomplish. Let's get this grain line here. As long as our side seams match, that's really our goal, right? So if we do an inch like that, and we can pull this down a little bit to match, like that, something like that. And then we're gonna deal with this right angle thing right here. I actually have a way we could do this. All right, let's pull this apart. Keep you like this. Could raise you up a little bit, but we'll just leave it like that. I want to raise this a little bit more. So let's raise you up a little bit like that. And then we can raise you up a little bit too. Okay, those are barely secure, so we gotta secure everything really quick. If I'm missing a question, please just tell me again, because you guys are chatting a lot. I don't want to miss it. All right, so we need this to be a right angle here. So what I'm going to do is, because what happened when I did this less than this right here, it put this at an angle, right? So now I've lost my right angle up here at the top. See that right there? Let me zoom in a little more. Do you guys want a closer thing here? We can zoom in a little bit. I had already zoomed in a little bit. I wasn't sure how much to go. I feel like pattern stuff is so, it's not very appealing on camera. How's that? That's pretty good. Let's see, where's my border here? So right, as long as I stay here and here, as long as I stay right here, is this on screen? Okay, so we got to stay like up high right here. Okay, we'll try. Okay, so because I want to get this right angle here, what I could do is cut this to that little spot there. Do I want to cut that one? Yeah, I'll cut that one. And we're going to raise, oh, actually, maybe I want to, is that what I'm going to do? I was just trying to think, maybe there's an easier way to do that, or like a cleaner way. Yeah, I think I just slit the wrong way. That's what it is. I'm like, wait a minute. Cut going the other way up here, like this. And now we can... No, I don't want to do that. Wait, what? I can't believe that just looking at this upside down is throwing me off right now. We want to pull this up right here. Yeah, I'm going to stick with, we're just going to cut that off like that. And we're going to put this at a right angle. I could just draw it in. That's what I would normally do. I think like people like the hinges though. So I'm just getting this back on the center, or the right angle at the center front. No, the side seam doesn't have to be a right angle, but it does need to be at a good transition. So technically it is at a right angle. It's just not the kind of right angle we think of. There we go. That looks better. This can sometimes change your waist here. If it's minimal, it's probably not a big deal, but you can just kick this out or in depending on getting that at that right angle there. Usually I would just draw it in, right? I would just be like, okay, here it is, and then I would make my adjustment. So, so you see how this is curved right here? Who asked that? Justine. See how this is curved right here and this is curved right here? Technically that is a right angle. You see that? So it doesn't look like a right angle, but it is. And if you were to lay the other one there, here, you would see like a wedge right at the back. If you laid these side seams parallel, the back would look like this, right? But that's also at a right angle. And when they sew together, you get a nice transition. I need to secure this. We need to secure this. Stop monkeying around. Okay, there we go. Oh, thanks, Julie. Yeah, I really like red. I try and sew it as much as I can because I want to wear it. I really like it. I don't like looking Christmassy, though. And I feel like that's kind of a risk. All right, let's put this back, this piece of paper here. And we'll secure it as well. I use a lot of tape, I know. And then the other thing I'm going to do is make this bigger here. But right now I'm just looking at the amount I added. So let's measure this amount here, which is about 3/4. And we could bring this one up a tiny bit, like a 1/16 of an inch, which isn't very much. Save that. I'm not measuring the whole side seam. I know my side seam matches, and I'm going to double check it at the very, very end. But right now, I know if I added this wedge right here, right, this wedge, if I measure right here on the seam line, and I measure this one on the seam line, as long as that amount matches, they should still sew together. So I don't worry about anything else. And I think that discourages a lot of people from doing pattern work, especially on big pieces, because you're like, oh, I hate having to match this whole thing. And you can really get yourself into a pickle if your side seams don't match and you aren't, it's very literal. If I make a change here, what does this seam affect? Where does the seam sew to? Oh, it sews to this one. Okay, I gotta do the same thing over here, right? And what'll happen, because this is a garment that's a bifurcated garment, like a sleeve to a garment, like a garment, a top. You have a torso, right? You have one cylinder for your torso, right? And then you have two legs coming down here, right? You can get into a pickle if your side seams don't match and you're like, oh, I'll just lop it off at the hem. Well, you'll have problems if you do that, because then if you're only trimming at your outer hem edge, you've just put your pants off grain instantly, like that. And now your legs can torque. So it's best to change it near where any changes needed to be. If your hems are already true, you know, meaning like the grain line is perpendicular to the hem, I wouldn't mess around with that unless you're making the exact same change on the part that sews to it. So just be careful with that. And when I was early in my pattern drafting, that's where I would get into this endless freaking cycle of nudging and pulling and nudging and pulling. And that, I feel like that's where when computer drafting came along, it got worse, because it was so easy to change something and you didn't see your previous ink line, right? You couldn't see your Sharpie line from before and go, oh, wait, I already did that. Maybe I don't want to do that again. You could do it, go off to lunch. Someone could walk in the room and talk to you and you'd be like, wait, did I just do that or not? You're moving such small increments sometimes on the screen, you can't tell. So just be careful when you're doing things like that. Be literal. You don't have to measure that whole side seam. If you knew it was pretty much okay, then I would just focus on that. And then if you have changes, especially on things like a side seam length, I would make the change up here at the waist if your hem is true. It's perpendicular to the grain line. For your inseam, same things. And you can get really tricky, and you may have to kick up your rise sometimes, or do some slashing spreading. So yeah. All right, so anyway, let's secure this down as well so we have our center back. Sometimes when I see that starting to happen, like I'm getting into an endless cycle, and it often happens when I'm trying to help someone with fitting, because I'll get distracted. I am simultaneously trying to think how I would do this and how it would be best to convey what I'm doing, which may be a completely different way to show it. And I will sometimes get myself, and then I'm like, nope, just start over. It's just not worth doubting your work. All right, let's take our... So now I've raised my waist without changing my waist circumference, and I didn't change my yoke. I put this all in my like high hip area because that's fine with me. I didn't want to affect my hand opening. This needs to be there anyway, right? So might as well just go right below the pocket opening. Not hand opening, but pocket opening. And now I just want to do a little bit of circumference. So I'm going to add a 1/2 inch over here. I'm going to do like, what did I say? 3/8, or sorry. 3/8 of an inch. So we're going to add 3/8 of an inch. And I'm going to make sure I get this like through this region here. Don't just do it right here at your waist and then start tapering immediately to here. Unless you really need that. I would, if you really need it to go down into your hip area, you better keep going before you start blending it in, right? So we'll do the same thing here. So we just went like a little bit past our change there, and now we can sort of blend it in if we want, but I'm not going to, because I'm going to change my hem circumference, and maybe we don't want any like rares going, you know. So all right, so I'm pretty fine with this. Gonna square that over like that. And oh, actually, oh, I just did that wrong. Sorry. I forgot I took this off already. I'm sorry. Don't forget to you need to do this to your yoke. I didn't do it wrong. I didn't do it to my yoke too. That's what it is. So don't forget your yoke. Another way to do this change right here, which is a little more literal, and you run the risk of not shorting yourself or doing too much, is you can slice down your side seam here. Like say you slice all the way down to like here, right? We'll say right here, right? So you slice to here, and then you slice to here on this little line here, and you make a hinge and you kick it out or in. And then you've kept the integrity of this whole area here. You've kept this nice curve. You've kept this juncture, everything. So that's another thing to do. And then if you do it right on the seam line, you're not really, this is like we're not doing like an inch right here. I did 3/8, right? And 3/8 is going to give me 1.5 inches in total circumference, because 3/8 and 3/8 is 3/4 of an inch. And then the same on the other two, right? So, and this is great, like if you have asymmetry, if you only want to do one leg, right? You can just slice along that side seam, kick it out or in, and then blend it right there at that spot. That's really easy to do. I love doing that. I think that's great. The home sewing world does a lot of that, and I love that. Okay, so we've added our, I've kept my, okay, yeah, okay, so I did this, I did this, I did this. And so now all I really need to do is fix my waistband. Yeah, exactly. I think that's it's just if it's not a huge amount, I think it works really good, you know. And if you want me to demonstrate it, I'll do it on this one here since I don't have to deal with the yoke. But I would literally go like this, cut this along the seam line. We'll just go to like right there. Cut up to that, right? This is after. You could do maybe even a little more, right? Look at that. That's like an inch. I feel like that's fully acceptable, that right there. And if you wanted to blend that in, you know, that's not even hard. That would be the easiest, most literal way to do it. And then right here at this spot, you're going to need to blend this, and you're probably going to have to come back here and blend it like that. And then this won't change. I froze? It froze. It must be YouTube. Can you hear me? Huh. You're froze. I'm back now? Okay. Weird. Yeah, everything was fine on my end. So I don't know what where it cut out on you guys, but so right here when you need to blend this back in, see I kind of carved it away from the top. So this is the old line, because you know you have to like blend this. This is a huge amount right here, right? I added an inch. That would basically add 4 inches in circumference to your pants, by the way. So that's cool. That's quite a lot. So you get the buffering wheel, huh? See, for me, it must be a YouTube thing because it says excellent condition for me. Storms are coming to California. That is true. They are arriving like right now. But it looks okay. Sorry. So yeah, so you just need to blend that in. But yeah, I think that this is a great way to do this. I think this is so much more, has so much less potential for issues. So. Now I just want to do this, so let's just do it. To add that 3/8 like that. I love it. Yeah, you have to do this on the seam line, by the way. If you do it like inside the pant, don't do it in the seam allowance either. Don't do that. Do it on the seam line here, or if you do it in the pant, you need to be close. If you start doing it too far in, you're going to get some weirdness. So, well, you could make the hinge higher, but you don't want to bump right here, right? Like you want this to be a nice, smooth transition. And look at how little this added right here. So I think, like, personally, I think that would be, it'd be better. You wouldn't want to just go boop like this. If you need to only increase the waist, Barbara, like you really don't want to get down in here, straighten it out from here and go up. Like if you need more of a straight rather than a taper, you could straighten it. How are you going to remember this technique if you need it? I don't know. Someday it'll be in Fitopedia and you won't have to. All right, whoops, I just bunged up my tape there. All right, so let's just trim this off because I did it that way on this one. I'm just gonna trim this like this for now. And then we can trim this right here. All right, and so now I have 1 inch more in center front and 3/8 inch more in the waist that way. All right, so on this one here, we could do the same thing on this one if we wanted. It's more like, let's try and do it on the yoke piece, or not the yoke, but the back pant. So if we were to line this up, this hinge was more like right here. So let's focus on it being like right here. Anyway, we'll leave this works. But we're gonna cross out this so we don't accidentally cut along that line. And then we can cut right here. Oops. And right here. And we need a piece of paper. Just doing some origami today. And yes, I do eyeball 3/8. But I feel pretty confident. Sometimes I test myself. I'm like, boy, you're just like out here, you know, on the bucking bronco of wild, wild westness. You're just like, I need 1 inch, and you just add it, Saremy. And then I'll double check it, and I'll be like, okay, not bad. All right, get rid of that so I don't get confused by that original line. Okay, there we go. Max, I would open the hinge. I think that you should look at it like how big of a bump you could get here, right? You wouldn't want it to go like this, right? And your side seam was here and you had this like angle. So whatever you can't blend in. And you can go the other direction too. It'll probably be more noticeable going in. So what if you're doing a lot, then I would do the hinge like way down here, like make it longer. All right. Get rid of some of this. Let me make sure I'm staying on track here. I got that. All right, so now what I need to do now, I've made my fit and changes up here, is make sure my waistband will fit. So I need a new waistband. And I still need a full fly-facing, pocket-facing pocket, and the hem stuff too. All right, and that's how it's looking. Looks pretty nice. It's the optical illusion. That little mark is making it look like it dips down, but it doesn't. Nice smooth transition there. Looks pretty good. All right, and then here's my yoke. I always forget the yoke. I have forgotten the yoke ever since I started streaming. I didn't do very many jeans when I worked in the garment industry. That's one thing I didn't do a whole lot of, except for kids. But, you know, kids are like fitting 2 French fries, you know. They're really easy. For jeans, at least. All right. What do I want to do next? So sort of want to like make this piece new because it's so ugly, but hi Eliza, how's it going? I don't have to adjust the yoke because I did adjust the yoke. It's right here. Do you have to adjust the yoke to fit the back piece since you added? Yeah, here it is right here. Yep. It was taped to it, and then I pulled it up and then did that hinge because pretty much like from that point down, it's going to be fine. Would I give this pattern to a client like that? No, but it's fine for us. We're talking 16ths and 32nds at that point. My tolerance is 30 seconds. So usually I will be accurate to a 16th of an or to a 32nd of an inch. If it's off by a 32nd, I let it go, if that helps. So everyone has their tolerance level. Every factory has their tolerances as well. They'll just say plus or minus, whatever. And when I'm just doing casual stuff for myself, I don't even care if it's up to an 1/8 of an inch off sometimes, but I would never, ever hand a pattern like that to a client. That's not an 1/8 of an inch off. That's like, if it's off at all, it'll be like 16, we're talking 16ths. There's just so many places where cutting, sewing, and this stage can affect your pieces that fretting over 16ths of an inch in home sewing is kind of like, not worth it, in my opinion. But like I said, for a client, I would never. Okay, so I have this little jog right here. Can you see that little jog? Let me put this more true to the camera. You see that right there? So this is when we look at our seam line. You can see here's this seam line. It's like a big jog right there. We want to blend this in from the end point to the seam there, and then we can blend it in down here too. Like that. Big old fat Sharpie. I mean, the Sharpie alone is sometimes an 1/8 of an inch wide. Yeah, no, it's more like a 16th. A Sharpie is a 16th of an inch. That's a lot. That's a lot. So that's why my tolerance is 30 seconds. And even sometimes smaller. 64ths and stuff. Just depends on who your customer is, you know. But if you're the customer, let it go, let it go. Okay, let's see here. Let's do something kind of easy. We'll do our pocket now. So we have this is the original Ash Jeans pocket. And I would like to make it bigger. And this particular piece of paper will not be big enough. So I need a piece of paper. I already used my paper for that other demonstration. Here we go. This will work perfect. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is just trace this off. I know that I've changed some things over here, so we're going to, and actually, if you want, do you want to know how to draft this? I can show you how to draft this, but so I'll just walk you through right now. If you want to make one of these pockets bigger, so let's mark on here. This is the fold line of the pocket right here. So let me orient you. So when you have this sewn to your garment, you put your hand in right here, right? And this is your pocket, right? And you see how close my hand is to this? It just feels really narrow. So I was gonna add like an inch right here. So you could slice this open right here and pull it apart 2 inches, and that would give you 1 inch of extra width. That's all you'd have to do. We're gonna draft ours new since our shape is a little different than that now. And we can use it as a guide for the finished width that we want. So what we need to do is we need to trace this hip area of the pant. And I'm just looking for my little tracing wheel guy here. So we're gonna trace the side seam. We're going to trace the hip and waist area. like up to about right here. We're also going to trace this pocket opening. Actually, let's trace the finished pocket opening because we're going to make the seam allowance smaller. And we're going to trace the grain line. Don't forget the grain line. All right, so now we have, here's the grain line. I can see little perforations now. And then here is my side seam that I just drew. Right? Here's the waist. And then the finished pocket opening is right there. Right? So I'm going to add 3/8 of an inch seam allowance to this. Usually I would do 1/4, but we'll do 3/8. Dirty, dirty ruler, man. We need both those, this line and we need that line, so don't get rid of that. And then we're going to draw an arrow to this so we remember that we added the seam allowance there. And then as far as our pocket width goes, we can use this as a guide because we know I wanted it 1 inch bigger, right? So if I put this 1 inch, this fold line 1 inch past that red line there, and we're going to make it parallel to the grain line. That's our fold line right there, okay? We don't need that now. Well, we might want it in a second. So now, since we're just home drafting, we can fold our paper here to draft the other half. Ooh, I barely made it. All right, and so this side of your pocket is gonna be the filled in side, and this side of your pocket is gonna be the cutaway. So we're just gonna cut out both at the same time. Like we're gonna cut out the folded pocket like this. Oh, we should draft our bottom edge. All right, so we have that, right? And then here on this little swoopy bottom here, you can choose what you like. Some people like the bottom of the pocket to go all the way to the side seam, so you have a lot tethered here. Some people like it to have this little looseness here, and I think there's advantages and disadvantages to both, and I wouldn't sweat it. I would just do what you like better. So let's see here. Let's look at our pocket depth. And if you don't have this, like say you don't have this as a guide, you're just kind of like, well, I don't know, Saremy, I don't even have one of those. I'm drafting this from scratch. You can put your hand in your pocket, or even, you know, if you have a pair of pants on, you can kind of go, okay, when I put my hand in there, you know, this is the pocket. I happen to be wearing Ash jeans, so that doesn't really help. As you can put your hand in any pocket, right? And you can kind of go, okay, this is where my hand is. That's where the bottom of the pocket is, and that kind of checks out, right? Because the thickness of our hand is going to make the pocket a little shorter. So we want it to be a little longer than that. And we're going to go perpendicular to this edge down here. Perpendicular to this edge right here, this fold line, okay? And then here on the side, we just need to make sure we have enough of a pocket bag, right? We can kind of draw this in. I made this, well, finished, I made this about 4.5 inches, right to there. So right now it's like 5 3/8. Something like that. It looks like a nice shape right here. You want a right angle here because you don't want to come at it like at a sharp angle like this. It's weird. Just don't do that. Do a nice little angle here. It'll be easier to sew. It'll be easier to finish this. Well, it's not that it's easier to finish. If you're going to use a serger, obviously a straight line would be easier. But this is, just don't do that. Just don't. Okay. So now we're going to cut this bottom here, folded again. I like to do French seam finishes on the bottom. Obviously I didn't even like deal with the seam allowance there, but I know that that's deep enough. And now we're going to open it up. And so here is how our pocket's looking. So this right here is the underside, and we're going to cut away the opening here right along the seam allowance. And you can have a lot of fun with this right here, right? This doesn't have to be rounded. You can make it, well, gosh, I mean, you can make this thing all kinds of things, right? Rounded is traditional, right? You could make it square. You can make it scalloped. You can do whatever you want with this. Whatever you pick your poison. You can do it, you know, side seam pockets and hip pockets, right? You can do hip pockets or slash pockets, whatever you want to call those. So you can do whatever you want. What I like about rounded openings is they lay closer to the body. The slash style, like this right here, I think people think that this is more sleek on the body. It is more invisible, which is nice. And when you still have this little bit here, you have something for your hand to find, as opposed to a side seam or an inseam pocket where you're kind of like, where the heck is that thing? And why didn't I make them even on both sides? Why is one of them a ½ inch higher, right? So with this, you know, you have this like 1 inch, and this can vary, right? This can be really drastic, or it can be really slight, like it can even be ½ inch away, you know? It's nice your hand can find it. But what I find is when I sit down, this will poke out sometimes, and this catches on things in my house. I have the worst height for everything in my house. Whereas something like this will hug the body, right? This little curve. What I don't like about these is that sometimes the facing under here that gets sewn to the top of your under pocket there, your under pocket, this will crumple, and I don't like that, especially in laundry. If this is weak and crumples and you get this wrinkle right there and it's kind of a permanent wrinkle, do you guys know what I mean? I don't like that either. So I will sometimes interface this piece. We're about to make this pattern piece, by the way. This is not the pattern piece. Don't use that. I like to interface it because I really like it to be really firm right there. And that's just a very, very personal preference. I've never heard anyone else complain about that. I'm the only weirdo there. So, all right, so let's trace this here. I miss drafting with manila paper so bad. But it's so expensive now. All right, I'm gonna put my grain line on here, and it's kind of far away. But what we can do is we can take our ruler and draw, here's my grain line of the pocket. We're gonna draw it in over here because we want our facing to be the same grain as the fabric, because this is cut in the self fabric, right? So usually you make that little facing there in jeans. And this is pocket lining, and then your you know, self, whatever you make this in, these are gonna match. And you want the grain to be the same thing. Same with like corduroy nap or something like that. I'm almost out. I have like 2 yards. I'm to the worst 2 yards of the whole roll because it's all curly now, you know? All right, so there's our grain line. And then, oh wait, did I not draw my, okay, so now we open this up. And we trace the other part. I should have done that like right away. Usually what I do is this. I fold it the other direction, like this. I trace this, I hold it, I pick it up, I trace this. And then that way I know I kind of stay on. And I got this a little, I can see I got this off. So let's get this better here. Get that back on grain. There we go. All right, so we're gonna draft that. So now this edge right here, that is the cut edge, right? This right here is our seam line. We need this facing to go to the seam line and past the seam line. This is also personal preference, but I think 1 inch is sufficient. You know, you want to make sure that when you put your hands in your pockets or you're just sitting there casually or whatever, that the lining's not going to peek out, right? So I usually go 1 inch past the seam line here, or 1 inch past the seam allowance. Well, I wouldn't go 1 inch past seam allowance, because if your seam allowance is 5/8, you're only like a 1/2 inch in there. I would go an inch past your seam line. I don't know why I was just saying past the cut. It's just because I know mine's 3/8. So there we go. That's kind of how it's looking, right? And we sort of didn't get enough traced here. We'll be a little bit picky and get our, let's cap this. All right, and here's our pocket facing with the grain matching the self. There we go. This edge here has 0 seam allowance because we just overlock it and stitch it down. But if you want some extra there to like turn under, I would just add like 1/4 inch. I wouldn't do much because this curve will kind of beat you up if you want to do more than that. Oh, really? Oh, wow. Hi, Blair. How's it going? Wow, really? Dang, that's crazy, Aisha. I got a really good tip from a Sew Expo teacher about the classroom setup. And so I went to buy hero markers from Waywack. And I want you guys to guess how many you think Waywack has in stock for the whole website of hero markers. You can't check. It's 0 right now because I bought them all. But what would you guess? I would have guessed they have 100 in stock. 3? You don't really believe that, do you, Tiffany? I needed 30. I needed 30 and they didn't have 30. 25. Dang, I'm like, I thought they'd have like 100 of these in stock. I'm thinking Waywack has like this infinite storeroom except for fold over elastic and anything I need. They had 18 in stock. Between me putting those in my cart yesterday and then this morning they were still there, and then a half hour later 2 of them were gone. So I got 16. No, I'm gonna give them away. They're gonna be in the kit. I didn't account for the expense of it in the kit, but it's gonna be crucial. They're gonna need those. So yeah, right, Elena? I know they're probably like, dang it. And maybe they don't put their whole inventory on their site. Like they could have more in the back and they're just like, oh, we'll put those on later. All right, so here is our pocket setup now. And remember that I still have this on here, right? So this little section here would be cut out. And we're gonna cut it down here because I changed the seam allowance. So they have so many marking tools. I know when I did that skill building session on marking tools and I bought one of every single thing, it was kind of nuts. Oops, this is why you always do it this way. Hold it against itself so you can see. Line up your hip. This is so far away. It's so far away for you too. You don't think that's an item that moves a lot? Really? It's the best thing ever. All right. $40 for 2 cones of thread. Wait, what? Wait, what did you say, Aisha? Wait, Wait, $13.95 for how many cones though? And now it's $20, $21. How many cones is that, Aisha? Is that like 4? That's what I hate about buying cones of thread is that that's $20 for a cone of thread. What? What are you talking about? What? What? Which thread? Really, Tiffany? Wow. Gutermann Mara. Wait. I have to look this up. Oh my gosh. Why is that there already? Okay, I have to look this up. Goodman Meyer's a little tiny cone, right? It's $4.39. Oh, wait, for a 5,000 yard cone. Oh, got it. Oh, okay, I didn't know those came in cones. $20. What do you use that for? Got it. Okay. What's the weight on the Mara? Text 30. Okay. Ay caramba. Okay. Distraction over. Okay, we've got our pocket. We've got our pocket facing. We don't want to lose these. We're gonna mark our lining. Okay. And we need to know, I don't want to cut this off. I love having it. You know what I'll do? I'm going to cut it off and then I'm going to tape it to my, wish I would have thought of doing this sooner. It's just handy to have so I don't have to get the pocket piece out when I'm doing any changes to a pattern. All right, so now we have these. Let's do our waistband now. We need our yoke. And we need our front. And we actually need that piece. $30-something per cone. Oh my goodness. I wonder if I went to buy it wholesale, what the price would be. Kind of curious. Because that's one thing I always found, that thread was never that great of a deal when you're buying wholesale. Because you're the end user with thread. I'm not a reseller of thread. I'm actually the customer, even as a wholesale or as a manufacturer. So it was never a great deal. So, and I had to buy, how many cones was it per color? It was like 24 cones for a color. If they didn't have it in stock, like black, white, navy, cream, they have all that. They have some grays. They had some things in stock. But if you wanted one of the colors from the color card, or you wanted a dye to match, you're talking 24 cones, which is so many for us. We needed 8, I think. We needed 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. We needed 10 cones. So 24 was just way too many. We would never go through that. We didn't go through the 10. So, okay, let's do our waistband. Sorry, lollygagging here. Have our back pocket there. All right, so we're gonna measure our waist with a clean ruler. And this is our new waist right here. So our back waist now. Anytime I put a plus sign on my things, that means a 1/16 of an inch. And then we're going to measure to our center front here. Yep, that was the right spot. Okay. Okay. We need to make our fly facing actually, so let's do that really quick because we can't finish our waistband without it. I'm going to fold this piece here. And we're going to fold. Actually, we're not going to fold. Well, yeah, we'll just do it this way. All right. So I'm just going to draft this fly facing here. I'm going to put the fold line of this folded piece of paper along the center front there. I'm going to trace my fly facing on here. So one note, because I lengthened this right here, I don't want to shorten the zipper. If you feel like, you know, your pattern is super easy to get on and off, the opening is way too big, then you can shorten your zipper. Right now, this right here is perfect. And the zipper depth needs to go to your hip, your fullest hip, right? Oh, nice, Mullen, I can't wait to see it. And that didn't change, right? Your hip didn't move. I'm just raising my waistline. So this is staying all static right here on the body. We just need this to be longer now because it got higher up. We don't want to raise the fly up unless this was too low or it was too big of an opening. That's the only reason that you would shorten your fly. This looks kind of long, like I can probably shorten it. Let's see. 7-inch zipper, that's perfect. As long as it's a zipper length we have, right? Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I meant, Nita, is like I needed 2 per machine because we had a bobbin winder and the sewing, and we needed 4 for a serger. So we had 3 industrials and a serger. So 2, 4, 6, and then plus the 4 for the serger. Yeah, that's awesome, Mullen. I can't wait to see it. Yeah, I think I would at least buy 2 still because I just can't stand stopping and doing that. All right, let's draw this in here. And then here is this. And here's my waist. And I'm going to add some seam allowance because I think I'm going to clean finish this. Meaning I'm going to... Is that what I'm going to do? Oh, I actually have the fold on this wrong, too. Wait. This goes back like this. Yeah. Yeah, I did that fold wrong. It's like this. Sorry. I've been really exploring zipper flies lately. Do you guys ever do that where you explore something you know really well, and then all of a sudden it's like, what is life? Nothing makes sense anymore. You've deconstructed it so far that you doubt everything you do. I was doing a zipper fly the other day and I was like, you know what? This is not the time, but I'm so curious, and I've been trying to get to the bottom of like why certain zipper flies do certain things. Like, why do I like it on this built on, right? Why is this so different than putting this on with a seam, you know, sewing this on here with a seam? And it's all to do with where the zipper gets put in, because the zipper gets put into that seam, then it's not moving on this fly where you can put it further into the garment and it gets more exposed. And I started getting so confused on that, and I've done this a couple times lately where I put the fold in the wrong place. But yeah, this is where I want the fold. All right, we're gonna add 5/8 inch right here, like this. We have our fly. Did I make it onto the paper? Yeah, I made it. Okay. All right, now we have this for the waistband extension, because one of these, it'll sew like this to the waistband, like that. Waistband goes to here on one side, and on the other side, it goes to the center front. And it's, let's see, it's the, yeah. So this is the one right here. It goes all the way to the end, the right front. So the right front includes the shield. The left front goes to the center front. I don't think that that's, Jan, I actually think that that's a language thing. Because sometimes you know what you want to know, but you don't know what language to use to phrase the question. And it's because you haven't I feel like that's for me. Like if I'm like looking for help on something, I'm like, how do I phrase this? This is what I want to happen, but I don't know how to explain this. Exactly. It's so funny. You don't do that for your industrial? That's really funny. All right, so again, let me draw a little picture for you on the waistband. I'm running out of scraps for my little things here. So let's pretend like we're looking at the storm is storming. Oh my goodness. Okay, so here is the front waistband, right? Now this side, oh, I knew I should have done it open, but then I chickened out. Here, this is the waistband, right? So the left front here, the waistband goes all the way up to the left front. This is if you put the fly on your left. Oh, really, Janet? I'm sorry. Well, you can always stumble through, and I will probably get there and get on board with what you're saying. And so this side here, we'll make this the same length. This side here has the zipper teeth right here, right? And this is the shield. And then this is the buttonhole. This is the button, all right? Just ignore those here. So this is my right front. This is my left front. This is only if the curved fly is on your left, right? So this waistband here, it goes to the center front, which is right here on this piece here. So these two spots are the same spot on the pair of jeans. The shield here, it extends out, and the waistband needs to include that. So this side, basically your waistband is the same up to here, but your right front needs this little extension, and that extension is the same width as your shield. So I like to phrase that way, because that way at least you're like, oh, okay, I didn't know what that notch was, you know? So like when we're looking at a pattern piece, I don't actually have the Ash Jeans pattern piece here, but you know, if we're looking at a pattern piece, this is a curved waistband, but I'll draw this in the form of a straight waistband, right? So here's the straight waistband. This is the entire waist. Let's see if I can get it all on here. Here's your center back. We'll pretend like it's on the fold, okay? The center back, and then we have our side seam, right? And then on the right, we're looking at this as if it's sewn right here, right? So this one, here's the seam allowance, right? And this is the center front. This is the center front. Right there. This one here is going to have an extra notch over here, and that is this right here, the center front again. So if you fold this waistband in half along the center back, all of this is going to line up to here, and then this little extension here is the shield, the width of your shield. So that would be that amount right there. So just so you know, no one explains this stuff to you sometimes. All right, so let's do our waistband pattern here. And I'm gonna get a new piece of paper for it. We'll just draft it. Why not? I'm gonna stick with the curve of the ash because it works pretty good for me. We need probably a big piece though. Sorry, it's gonna be kind of loud. Maybe. I have to tether my roll of paper, otherwise it will fall over. Okay. So I'm doing a curved waistband, and I like a curved waistband. That's the way I'm shaped. Which part, Amy? You mean the other side of the cut on fly when you were saying the shield? Well, yes. I am saying, yeah, because this right here folds back like this when you sew it. So that's why I say this right here, what you're looking at right here, is on the, no, it's on the left front. So this piece right here, this one right here, is this pattern right here, right? So this little waist. So when I'm saying this is as if you're sewing this with the curved fly on your left, I mean that top stitching. So this right here. So here's the curved top stitching. So if you're wearing your jeans and your curved top stitching right here is on your left, this is how this is set up. It's the opposite if it's on your right. So women's trousers are often the opposite of this. And I tend to sew all my things like men's for my jeans. This is the shield right here. That's the zipper poking out. I don't have this wrong, right? Let me look at my own pants. Yeah, let's... Let me look at my own pants, but yeah, like you're confused. You're making me doubt it. But yeah, exactly. So we're looking at this right here. This pattern piece is our right front. But if when we cut it and sew it for the left front, that's what it'll look like. It'll be folded over, and the waistband goes to this end right here. Whereas this side right here is going to have the shield like this poking out with the zipper like that. It'll look like that. That's this side right here. They cut it straight and then steam it into a curved shape. Which piece are they curving into a state? Yeah, the fly shield is a separate piece. That's this one right here. That's what that is right there. That's the shield. It sometimes looks like this. Looks like this. I curved mine. That might be what's confusing you. I curved mine because I want it to nest with this and be the same. I don't really like this little point right here like when this is straight, because you can make this shape any way you want. It could be a rectangle, it can be curved, it can be straight, right? This little piece right here, I just don't like it a straight angle, because then what happens is the little point, this little thing, it folds up. Oh, okay. No. That's the cut on fly. You would add to both and then you do the shield. That's right. Yeah, because Amy, when we cut this out, we're going to cut two just like this. Don't let this confuse you on the pattern piece. This is the finished sewing right here. So this is the shield. And it has one of these hidden in here. But it's mostly like extra seam allowance. So wait, Beth asked, if I recently seen someone cut it straight and then steam it into a curve shape to match the pattern piece. Which piece are you talking about that they cut straight and steam? Yeah, you've done it right, Amy. I'm pretty sure you've done it right, yeah. I think I was a little worried because I know you've sewn a few trousers lately, and I was thinking, oh, maybe the left-right thing might be confusing you. And it might be confusing you that this is, I've curved this fly shield. Here's the fly shield. Does that look better? Oh, the waistband. Oh, okay, okay. Steaming it into a curved shape. Oh, I actually don't know what the pitfalls of that would be, except that it might not last. But I could see that being... like, I don't know. Why did they do that? Was that a tailor maybe? All right, I'm going to put a center back seam in my waistband, and that's just to save fabric. Oh, okay. I do too. I prefer it on the left too. Like, I get it that why people put it on the right, but oh my goodness, does it throw me for a loop sometimes. Every time I go to the bathroom, I'm like... All right, so we're going to do the waistband. I do have a folded piece of paper here. Maybe with wool on a waistband for jeans, though. All right, so I'm going to center back seam here, 2 layers of paper. I'm going to do a right angle, and this is going to be the bottom edge of my waistband. And we'll stick with the width here. Actually, do I want this to be a little wider? I think I might go a 1/4 inch wider. So this waistband had 5/8 inch seams each side there. So that would be 1 1/4. So it's 1 3/4 finished. Really? That seems, it seems not as... Yeah, sorry. I'm totally... Oh, waistband. Okay, yeah. Okay, sorry I didn't see your reply there. I'm sorry. I don't know. Honestly, I'd love to see that video. That sounds really cool. I think depends on the fabric. I can't imagine being able to do it myself, so maybe it would depend on the fabric. If it was like trousers, like Barbara's saying with wool trousers, maybe that's why they do it. For me, the curve works better for me. If I do a straight waistband like this one right here, I get a gap. I just get a full-on gap at the back waist, right? With someone on Instagram, and I was so interested. Oh, it was denim. Yeah, be careful of those Instagram videos. Instagram is not about education. It's about views. There are lots of really great educators on there, but just be careful. Like, I would, if they don't have like a full video on it, like they're taking you to YouTube, be careful. I saw 3 videos today that pop up from people I follow. 2 of them were wrong. It's hard, man. It's hard out there for a sewer trying to learn sometimes, you know? All right, so if you want a straight waistband, you can do all the same steps, just make yours a rectangle. Hi, Nancy. Hello, how's it going? You always make all of my buttoning and flies so-called men's way. I'm right-handed, so yeah, that's exactly it. It's easier. It's funny, Mullen, because that's I feel like women's shirts are easier because we get to push the button in with our right hand if you're right-handed. So I feel like that is it's the women's way. It's the right-handed way. It's the right-handed way. I'm probably driving people crazy right now, Nancy, because I'm not getting on with it. I'm getting distracted. Okay. All right, so let's look at this gentle slope here. So now you can follow the curve of your pants, right? You could lay on your pants and follow the curve. Let's see how closely this one does, just to get an idea. Oh, this is the, sorry. This is the side seam, right? That's the front. So let's see, what do we think? Yeah, I think that that's basically following the curve of the waist of the pants here. You can see here's my pants right here, something like that. And I would say that that pretty much just extends the waist of the pants and continues the curve a little bit like that. Okay. You get a gap. Yeah. Yeah, it's usually why. Like for me, I have to have a lot of contour in the back. Hi, Christina. Okay. We see your questions. We'll know you're in the past. All right. I'm getting distracted. Okay, we're starting at the back. Oh my goodness. Where is my yoke? Okay. And I'm gonna... This is not a big enough piece of paper. Why did I do that? I'm just gonna open this up. We're gonna fold it like this. We're gonna ignore this black line here. I just want 2 pieces of paper, that's all. And we're gonna start with the back. Sorry, guys. All right, let's get our center back here. I just don't know if this is enough for the curve, but we'll see. Barely. Let's see. All right, and we need this to be 9 3/8. We don't have as much curve on this yoke here, right here, so we can kind of wing it. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm doubting myself here. I'm gonna start with the front because I like the curve on the front. I'm sorry. I'm just getting myself a nice line here to start with. This way we can use this curve and we'll continue it on the back. That's my plan. All right, so I'm just putting this on this line right now. We're gonna make the center front here a little different. So we're just getting this on here at the seam line here. So I made a 1 1/4 inch line. That's because there's 5/8 inch seam allowance. That's all, the only reason I did that. All right, so we're just getting this laying on here, lined up on the seam line. We have our center front parallel here to this line here. We can kick this up a little bit more. Get that parallel. Right? And then let's trace on our waistline here. This is how we're gonna get our curve. We're gonna go by the front. We're gonna trace our seam line on there. Trace our center front. And we're gonna use the center front here as our grain line for well, actually, we're gonna use the center back as our grain line, but we're just gonna use that as our right angle here. So that's our center front. All right, so now we have a center front line here. And the reason I didn't do it here is because I want extra for the other waistband here. Here's my line, and we're gonna go. I'm gonna draw in the seam line. So I'm putting a 5/8 inch line away from that tracing line, going that way. So I'll explain in a second. So here's the line I traced. That's the top edge of my waist right there. So I'm just drawing in the seam line. There's my seam line. It's kind of wonky. I can see that too. And then here is my side seam. Now we're gonna check this length here. That's perfect. So I'm measuring from center front to side seam right here. This is the seam line, remember that. Don't forget that. I'm gonna blend this in a little better, that curve there. And now we're going to draw in our width, our finished width. So I determined that this one here, if I take off the seam allowance, right? This one here is like, it's like 1.5 inches wide, and I think I'm gonna add 1/4 of an inch, so that'll be 1 3/4. That's my preference. So now we're gonna do a 1 3/4 inch parallel line above this waistline here. 1 3/4, here we go. You can make your curve here a little nicer. All right, so there's that, right? And we're gonna make this parallel. All right, so that's our finished waistband. So if you want it wider or narrower, you can do whatever you want. And you need seam allowance going on either side here. This is our waist seam, our side seam, sorry, side seam. And now we're gonna add our back. And we can kind of keep this curve going. To get the curve on the back. The back won't be quite as curved, I don't think. And now we're going to measure the back waist amount. Where's my yoke? Okay. 9 3/8. Right on that seam line there. Dang, my husband said it was gonna be wet today. That was the you should bring a raincoat hint that I was like, la la la. Oh, I'm sorry, was there a question? Did Eliza ask a question? Yeah, it'll get rid of the gap. See, Aisha? All right, so we don't have enough paper here. Let's look at this curve. I'm kind of fine with that. Let's add a little paper to here. What are you guys talking about? If there's, yeah, sometimes, Julie. Is it gaping at your waist seam or at your top of your waistband? I hate drafting with a Sharpie. Look at this, it's not very straight there. This is our center back. Right angles all around. Right angles all around. Add your seam allowance. If you want this to be on the fold, you can put this on the fold, that's fine. I'm gonna put a seam on mine because I wanna use less fabric and I don't like dealing with curved waistbands when I cut. They're really hard to get right. It gaps at the top of your waistband. Yeah, I would try a curved waistband then. Because think about, like, if your pants are gapping, like, let's look at the side view of somebody, right? Right, and then here's your booty, right? Here is your yoke, here is your pocket, right? Now, when you have gapping, it's probably more like this, right? And that little wedge right there is a problem. That's the gap, because here's your body, right? Sorry, I can't draw, but you know, here's your belly button, okay? You just got really tiny up here, but here's that little gap around the back of your waist, right? And if you just want to pinch that, and it's only at the waistband at the top, then yeah, you would want a curved waistband. If it's not at the waist seam down here, I would just curve the waistband. Yeah. Exactly. All right. So I'm just going to add my seam allowance in, and then we're going to do the fronts. There's nothing like drafting live. I promise if I ever do a class, it won't be this higgledy-piggledy. It is coming down out there. Yeah, oh, totally, Amy. Been there too. Yeah, I've totally done that too. Okay. So again, this is my center front. And remember, our right front, we need the shield. So we're looking at this as at the right front as you're wearing it. Anytime I'm saying direction, it's as if you're wearing it. So here was my center front right here. Right, here's my center front. And I haven't added my seam allowance to the bottom edge, so we'll do that real quick so that we're all on the same page. I will probably be double checking my waistband width is nice and even after the stream, and also that I have nice right angles at the center back. Like what Amy said she did, I have totally done that too. The thing with doing that, right, if say you had a straight waistband, right, you sewed it, and then you're like, oh, I'm going to take this wedge out the center back. What happens is your waistband now on the body technically looks like this, right? And you know what? When you're that desperate, we don't care. We just want it to not be gapping, right? So that's why you don't want to just do that on a straight waistband, and that's ends up why it gets curved, right? Because then you want this to be a right angle, right? And then you're like, okay, I'll just make this nice and smooth. That's how it gets curved. So, all right, so here we go. Are we following along? This outer line is my final waistband, very sloppily drafted. Oh, geez. This is why I'm terrible at drawing. All right. And so my right front gets the shield. This one here gets the shield. So we need to know the finished width of this. So we're going to take off the seam allowance here that we added and add this full width here. So for me, that is 1 3/4. It's usually 1.5 to 1 3/4. And we're going to add it to the right of the center front. Did I say 1 3/4? I did, right? Why is that almost perfect? And then we're going to add our seam allowance to that, which is 5/8. That was so, I can't believe that worked out, but that's your finished piece here for the right front, okay? And now we can cut this out. It's folded down here so it'll stay nice, but if it's not, you should staple it together. We're going to cut both out the same, and we'll trim off the excess on the left front. Oh gosh. Okay, so now we have, throw this in the recycling bin. See, this right here does not look, oh it is, okay. So now we have a right, so this is how it looks. So this goes like this. So we need to cut this off. I can see my center front line is right here. Oops. We want to just have seam allowance past this point. So let me draw in the center front there. Should be parallel to this edge here. And we just need seam allowance past this point. So trying to get it more squared. Trim that off. And then this is how this looks here. Okay, so this is your left front, right? And then this is your right front. That makes sense there. I think my problem with gapping, and it's partly because of the hip tilt I have, is that if there's a gap there, my shirt will, because when you have a hip tilt, what happens is your back is arched, right? It does this, and that makes your shirt get into that little gap. Yeah, belts are great. So there we go. There's our waistband. And so we have 2, and we need to do our notches. So let's line them up at the center back over here. If you want belt loops, I can show you where those go to. So we're going to put, right here's our side seam. So we have this one and this one right here, right? We have the notch for the center front on our right front that gets the shield. And that's it. That's all you really need. If you want, so you get your backs sewn together and you don't accidentally sew your fronts together, I will sometimes put a double notch back here. 1/2 inch apart. That's a little more than 1/2 inch. Like this. And then that way I know, like if I have pieces and they're just in my bin, I always know that that's the center back, right? Because I have the double notch. Yeah, I don't want to wear a belt anymore either, Terry. Exactly. Well, and it didn't help that nobody was admitting that they accidentally took my belts at our house. Cricket and Michael both were like, no. And then all of a sudden, all of my belts showed up. I can't remember which one of them. They were like, oh, I just found all these belts. These aren't mine. These are yours. 3 years I waited for those belts. So I just stopped making belt loops. It's less bulky. All right, so here's our center back. And then here's our center front. Now, if you want belt loops on your pattern, my preferred place is to put these. Let me get this up here. We still have the hem to do, by the way. All right, so here is our yoke and our center front, right? So I like to put the first belt loop, where is it? I think it's like right around here. Right? Is that where I do it? Or right here? Oh yeah, it's like, I'm getting myself confused because the back dart, usually I put it 1 inch from the front or the back dart. So in here, this is like a preference area. Sometimes you want it really close depending on how your pants fit, like what kind of style and stuff like that. So sometimes you want the belt loop to be really close to the center front right here, right? Sometimes you just want it in between there, like the center front and the pocket. So this area right here, it's probably easy for you to determine. For the other one, you're going to want one that's 1 inch from the side seam back here. Don't put it on the side seam. It's too bulky for you to sew. And then you want one at the center back. So usually there's 5, unless you want more. So it's usually center back, and I would put it here, right here at the back waist. 1 inch to the back side of the side seam. And then here, this is just personal preference. But usually it's like right around here. A lot of times what I see is it lines up with the fold of the lining, pocket lining, but you don't know where that's at sometimes. So if they don't have those, then they are not jeans. That's true. Okay, so let's just do the hems. So and then we can mark this as well. And so this is, I don't know why I keep picking up the red pin. Left front, cut 2, 1 with interfacing. Interfacing, 5 and 8" seams. The grain line is parallel to center back, but if you want, you can make it parallel to center front. I'm going to actually put mine to parallel to center front. I think that looks nicer with the jeans. So let's look at it this way. Let's kind of talk about it for a second. So if this was your center, if the center front is your grain line, right? Your front waistband is going to be the most stable, and the back is going to have more bias. If you're using a fabric that has a bias stretch, I'm using stretch denim, so it's not going to make a difference either way. I do think putting the seam in the center, putting a seam at the center back will make the waistband more stable. I like a really firm waistband. I sometimes will even interface both the inner and the outer waistband. It's also why I would never put my waistband on the bias or on the cross grain. I like it on the length grain if I can do that. And that's just because I like my waistband to not stretch during the course of the day. So I like to make it really stable. So, and I've even gone as far as using a different fabric completely for both waistbands if I didn't think anyone's going to see it. So you're a little feisty today. When aren't you feisty? All right, so now if you wanted to put your grain line at parallel to center back right here, that's going to make your back more stable, right? And then your front, like let's say you have a stripe on your fabric, okay? So that's what pockets are for. So if we had a stripe and this was our center front, and let's say it's a vertical stripe, you know, your stripes are going to go like this, right? And then that's how it would look on your center back. So if you had a mirror image of that, that's how your stripes would look, okay? Now if you had stripes and you're parallel to center back, right? This was how your stripes would look when you got to your center front, like that. So think of it that way. We're going to do our grain line to parallel to center front, and I'm going to redo this piece by the time I cut it out because I don't want to see this, but it's good to sort of orient, like think of it that way. And with twills, like denim is usually a twill, you will sometimes really notice that this little striping. That's why I also said with your pockets to cut those on grain. This right here, this little pocket facing. All right, so let's get all this mess out of here. We've pretty much got everything we need except we just need to adjust the hem circumference. A good place to get stretched denim. Gosh. I'm always defaulting to Hearts Fabric because they're kind of my local place. I know people get it at Blackbird and where else? Where are all the enablers? Well, Aisha is taking her wife to the airport. Where's Danielle? We need the enablers in here. That's what I'm kind of call the live chat. I'm going to rename the live chat the enablers. Just go in there. They'll point you in the right direction. 10 minutes from now, you'll be spending 50 bucks. Minerva has a ton of denim. Nancy's in the United States, though, so that might be a little far, but that's a good idea. Cali Fabrics. Most of the good shops, yeah. Cali Fabrics is hit and miss, okay. Fabric Mart. What about Style Maker? They are. I spend any time in there and all of a sudden I'm buying stuff. I'm like, what the heck? I'm usually really good. That is true, Karen. That is true. They do ship really fast. All right, so my hem. Okay, I want to make sure my inseam is what I want it to be. They have some stretch corduroy at Style Maker. Interesting. That does not seem right. That's what I want that to be. So I guess I'll leave it. But I feel like my jeans could be like Stone Mountain, LA Finch, Mood, Core Fabrics. Yeah. And they have green. Stop it. Don't stop being an enabler. Amy's in that chat. I see her. I'm going to out you, Amy. Warn everybody. All right. So I want an 18-inch hem circumference. So let's check right now what we have. So we have a 7.5 on the back. and 6 3/4 on the front. Cool. I'm actually glad to see that because I wanted to be able to add, I wasn't sure how much. So if we have 14 1/4 and we want 18, we want 3 3/4. And where's my mouse? There we go. I did ask for you. I didn't tell her, I wasn't trying to get her to enable me. I'm trying to get her to enable Nancy. So 0.93 inches. All right, just sorry, we're the sewing thugs. You know, I knew this gal who belonged to this group of sewers, and they called themselves the Seamsters Union. It was really cute. I just wanted to be a member to be a part of the Seamsters Union. Okay, so we're going to add 7/8 of an inch. I'm just going to go on the conservative side to each one of my hems here. Sorry, I'll turn them this way here. Yeah, Sarah's not a big fan. They did her dirty this fall. How many cuts of fabric did they send you for one, Sarah? That's pretty bad. Okay. So we're going to add 7/8 of an inch. And I'm thinking of this as having I'm going to say a 1 1/4 inch hem. So we're going to go out from there. Yeah, I think like being called a sewist or a seamster is good. Boy, this seems like so much. Would I want that much? This is what I like to do. I like to put something, like especially for hems, especially around my sleeve hem. I'm going to put this at what I think I want. And I'm going to put this around my ankle and see what I think. That might be too much. Yeah, let's do a little bit less. Let's go down. What if we did this like a fat 5/8 of an inch? Something like that. Okay, let's draw in our hemline. Fat 5/8 of an inch. So basically 5/8 plus the width of my pen. All right, now we're going to blend it. Might have to zoom out for this. No way, Barbara. Was it really? I love that. Dang, Saremy Seamster. That is really cool. You just gotta, yeah, that is really cool, Sarah. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit here. There we go. All right. So here's another thing, another way you could slice up the seam line and kick it out. It's faster. It'll be faster. I'm going to use pencil just for this because it's so far to go, and see if I can, where I can blend this in. Now, say you don't want to add any to the upper leg here. Maybe you just want to add it down here. You can do that. I'm looking for a right angle though, so maybe we can go, well, I don't really want too much. I don't want to go in too much at the knee. So we'll go here. We'll go like this. Something like that. I just need a right angle right here. I don't need it down here. I'm using this point right here to draw that. I might blend this in a little differently up there. Taylor, really? I did not know Schneider was the name for Taylor. I'm going to ask Michael about that. I mean, I like being a Duffy. My maiden name is Graves. All right. And now if you had some contour, like say you had made this like this, right? Here's your old line, you did that. We would make, I'm gonna take this hem amount here and I'm gonna mark it up here like that, right? And same on this side. And then I'm looking for a right angle. So let's say it's like this and we did it on this one here. So there it is, right? Here's our old line and here's our hemline. We would take our ruler perpendicular to this hemline here. So I'm using a cross line on my ruler, right? Like this. And I slide it till it hits this point. This is staying true to the hemline here. Make a notch and then you have this mirrored image here. Like that. You can always fold it up too and just trim it. This ruler is definitely going in the trash soon. It's just too dirty. All right. So we have one. And okay. Cut out our whole thing. No, I'm not making it. Isn't boot cut like so that they fit over a boot? I just don't want them to be so close to my leg. Because they're pretty close right now. Like I can only pinch, I would say 3 inches total extra. They're pretty close. And I can always taper them. Yeah, just a little wider. I was asking in chat today what the current trends were in the enablers chat. They basically said everything. Okay. We have our front. I just kicked out the hem, yeah. Wait, who is Schneider means to cut? Oh, okay. Stonebreaker from the, oh. What did they make me buy? They didn't make me buy anything. I got out of there quick. I was fast. Oh, that's true, Elena. I do think of Cologne meaning Columbus. I didn't know that it could also mean stonebreaker. I like that. Eh. Oh, Marrero is stonebreaker. Oh, okay, okay. Marrero. Interesting. What is hammer in Spanish? I feel like I know what it is. Yeah, I agree, Amy. I think that they're pretty narrow. Like, this looks kind of wide to me right now. Right? I just made the Esmond pants by Cashmerette. And when I first put those on, I was like, oh, these are kind of wide at the bottom. But the more I wear them, they don't feel wide at all. And I think it's because they're in canvas. The canvas is so stable. Canvas is so stable. You know what I mean? Like, there's no give at all. And they're kind of like stiff, so. All right. We have our front and we have our back. We added this little wedge. It looks so nice when you just do the slash and kick out. We raised our back a 1/2 inch and our front 3/4 of an inch and blended it at the side. We built on our fly. I made my shield and I mimicked the curve because I kind of like that. I made the super messy curved waistband. Night Mullen. Here's our yoke. I always forget the yoke. The poor yoke, I always forget it. We made a pocket with our, you know, facing here. There it goes. That's how it looks, right? And we have our back pocket, which I just traced from the Ash jeans. And I think I modified it a little bit, but it's really similar, so. Dr. Zebby's for you. I love it. Oh, does it, Sarah? That's funny. I didn't know that. All right. What am I missing? I don't do belt loops, and I don't do a coin pocket. So I think that's all I need is front pockets, back pockets, shield, yoke, waistband. We're good. I got all my changes. I'm excited. I hope this fabric is something I like. Now I can cut them out. And here's what we're making. Yeah, I need to envelope here. I'm gonna need a like spring cleaning day soon. My patterns are getting a little messy. All right, so I'll be cutting these out and then we're gonna start sewing tomorrow. So I'll cut these this afternoon. It's getting dark outside too. I'm gonna cut. I won't keep going right now because we've been going for a bit, and I know I was a little bit like slow on the pattern drafting. But I will start sewing these tomorrow. These days, most folks use like martillo or masillo, but marra. See, I've heard maleta when they will use like a mallet, but it felt more like a Spanglish type of thing, you know? Hi, Nathmi, how's it going? I wonder what graves meant. I've always wondered that. Maybe they were an undertaker or something. I don't know. In Puerto Rico, we use the maleta for suitcase. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Nightleen, thanks for coming. Oh, wow. Really? Schexnader. That is the last name. Hi, Patty. How's it going? I'm just finishing. Names are so interesting. Wasn't there some kerfluffle recently because Ancestry is going to start, what is it? They're charging. So if you've done one of their DNA things, you won't be able to see your stuff on Ancestry or the connections anymore. You have to pay to access your family tree. That's, yeah. Huh. You're right, Nancy. But the coin pocket drives me batty. It drives me crazy. When, you know what? I like a coin pocket on non-stretched jeans. On stretched jeans, though, they stretch so much sometimes that I will start trying to put my hand in that little pocket. But my husband did say the next time I ever make him jeans, there has to be a coin pocket because I skipped it on his, and he was not a fan. He's like, I need that. And I'm like, you use it? I can't even use it. For goodness sakes, without a coin pocket, they're not jeans either. Wah. Fair enough. No, but think all the time I'm saving. No belt carriers. I can't think of the name of the belt loops. No coin pocket. No extra fly piece. You know what, Nancy? To be fair, I am not using like traditional denim either. It's stretchy and it's not a twill weave. So they're not jeans, okay? They're stretch pants. Yeah, not quite jeans too. Exactly. Oh, that's smart, Sarah. But I was just doing that. I was putting my left hand in. Huh. I would like the coin pocket on the outside. Okay, can we do that? All right. Well, I'll see you tomorrow. We'll start sewing tomorrow. I usually like to sew the backs up first, and then I sew the fronts. If you want to do it differently, we can. But I feel like when you're, especially if you're new to sewing jeans, the backs, they are low risk, right? Like it's just a yoke and pocket, and that's it. And you can kind of get the hang of how your machine's going to handle your denim by doing the backs first. This is stretch pants. They are stretch pants in blue, in denim color. Guinabo. All right. Well, I will see you guys. Hasta mañana, iguanas. Thanks for coming. Get sewing legs under you. Exactly. Yeah. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for coming. Nice to see you all too. Bye.